Can you imagine holding a single pound in your hand today and feeling like it could buy something meaningful, even a little adventure? Back in 1955, that same pound wasn't just loose change, was a treasure, a small fortune in everyday life. With it, families could stock a week's groceries, enjoy a trip to the cinema, or treat a loved one to a modest gift, all without worry. Prices that seem tiny now once carried weight, and a pound could stretch in ways that make today's coins feel almost invisible. Let's step back and discover just how extraordinary a simple pound really was. In 1955, Britain was a country still finding its rhythm after the long shadow of the war. Streets were quieter, homes modest, and life moved at a gentler pace. Families lived carefully, often planning their weeks around what little money they had, making every shilling count. A pound, then, wasn't just a coin. It could cover a week's groceries for a small household, or pay for a cinema trip that felt like a real treat. Shops were local, familiar, and full of personal service shopkeepers knew your name, weighed your groceries by hand, and wrapped each item with care. Most workers earned around £8 to £10 a week, so 1 pound represented a tangible portion of a household budget, a meaningful sum that required thought before spending. Children learned the value of patience, watching parents save for the things that really mattered, from a new coat to a birthday gift. Community and frugality were intertwined, shaping a culture where simple pleasures were savored and small luxuries felt like achievements. It's a sharp contrast to today, where convenience dominates and coins often pass unnoticed. Back then, money carried weight, not just in pounds, but in care, effort, and shared experience, a perspective that makes us wonder what has been lost along the way. Picture a modest grocer's in 1955, shelves lined with tins, jars, and fresh produce, glistening under soft light. With 1 pound in hand, a family could gather everything needed for a week: a loaf of crusty bread, a few pounds of potatoes, seasonal vegetables, and a modest portion of meat. Each item was carefully weighed or measured, wrapped in brown paper, and handed over with a nod from the shopkeeper who knew your name. Shopping was a ritual, almost ceremonial, checking coins, planning portions, and making choices that mattered. It wasn't just about filling the cupboards. It was about pride, trust, and the satisfaction of knowing you could provide. Today, we stroll past brightly lit aisles, tossing coins and cards casually into machines. But back then, every pound carried a sense of accomplishment. A pound could also take you further than you might expect. Bus fares were pennies, and a few coins could carry a family across town or to a nearby village. Letters, the main form of long-distance communication, were inexpensive too. A penny or two would send news to relatives, friends, or loved ones. The affordability of daily transport and communication gave people independence. Children could journey to school or the park alone. Adults could visit neighbors or run errands, all without feeling the pinch. Today, travel and communication feel instantaneous but costly, and that effortless sense of connection is harder to capture. Back then, the simple act of moving around carried both freedom and meaning. Leisure in 1955 was rooted in community and imagination. For a few shillings, you could step into a local cinema, the smell of popcorn and dusted floors greeting you, and lose yourself in stories on the screen. Afternoon outings to parks, seaside trips, or even small fairs offered entertainment that didn't require deep pockets. Childhood novelty sweets, penny toys, and games in the street created memories far richer than their modest cost. There was anticipation, to waiting for the weekend, saving up coins, and enjoying the shared experience with family or friends. In contrast, today's entertainment often demands subscriptions, screens, or fast purchases, leaving less room for that slow, earned joy. Finally, a pound could bring small, tangible luxuries, perhaps a new scarf for a mother. Even a single coin could afford a simple gift that carried delight and thoughtfulness, a small upgrade to everyday life. These purchases weren't frivolous, they were treasured. The joy came not from abundance, but from making that money stretch and choosing something that truly mattered. In a world now accustomed to instant gratification, that careful selection and appreciation of modest indulgences, from groceries to outings, from letters to little luxuries. A single pound in 1955 could shape daily life in ways that seem unimaginable today. It was more than currency, it was a tool for living, connecting, and celebrating small, meaningful victories. Looking back, it's clear that £1 in 1955 was never just about numbers on a note. It carried emotion, effort, and intention. Families savored the process of budgeting, choosing, and planning, and every purchase had a story behind it. There was pride in making a pound stretch, satisfaction in small treats, and joy in shared experiences. Patience mattered. Waiting for the weekly shop or saving for a desired item made the reward all the sweeter. Today, spending often feels automatic, a swipe or tap with little thought, and in that convenience, some of the care and connection is lost. Remembering how we once measured value through effort, thoughtfulness, and shared experience reminds us that wealth isn't only in coins, but in the life we craft with them. Perhaps some of that slower, more intentional rhythm can still be reclaimed, if only we pause long enough to notice. Today, a single pound feels almost invisible perhaps. A coffee, a small snack, or a fleeting convenience. Back in 1955, that same coin could fill cupboards, bring a family together, and create moments that lingered in memory. The contrast is striking, not to judge, but to reflect on how abundance has reshaped our expectations. Progress has brought comfort and choice, yet it has also made small wonders easier to overlook. Thinking back, we might ask ourselves, what simple joys, what deliberate moments of care could we still reclaim from a time when a pound truly felt like something extraordinary?